Well, good morning and welcome back to Bacup Borough Football Club, the sports bar show, chewing the fat and talking a lot of balls, part 2. You've probably already seen, if you're just getting in from work and you're sitting down, maybe having your tea and watching the sports bar show, you've seen the first part about the Northwest Counties. We want to move on to, of course it's important for Northwest Counties clubs, especially at step 6, because over the last few days, I believe, Brent, that we've heard some noise or some would you call them rumours, or is it more than just rumours about clubs at step 6 level and the FA Cup?
I don't think it's rumours. I think there'll be plenty of substance behind it, because let me tell you, the Northwest Counties League don't issue information on the minutes if it's not for publication. And this week we all got a notification that step 6 clubs would not be able to apply to go into the FA Cup. That's all throughout the country, all step 6 clubs, which obviously spans over the country.
And that's the first time in the history of the FA Cup?
No, it's not the first time. Well, it's not the first time that step 6 clubs couldn't apply. You could always apply.
Yeah.
The last few years, what's happened is, because of oversubscribing, that's what the FA tell me, it's been oversubscribed, and it always puts there's always a line at the bottom that says there's no guarantee that you'll be accepted in. You've got to meet your ground gradings, and obviously it depends on whether they're oversubscribed or not. So if they're oversubscribed, the tier at the bottom end of the pyramid, which is obviously step 6, takes the hit. And what's been happening in the past, they've done it on this points percentage basis right across the country. So if you've finished probably in the top half of the league, or you've finished in the top 5, you've probably sneaked in.
Yeah. All
the rest don't get in. Now, it's been a bone of contention with me, and it's even more of a bone of contention with me. And believe you me, we talked about it on the last show about emails flying about. I've been sending emails, not this in the first year, I've been sending emails into the FA voicing my concern over this for a few years, because I've been at this football club for 22 years. And in 22 years, I think for the last 5 years, we have not been able to, they've sent our money back. We've applied for the FA Cup, but they sent our money back, oversubscribed, can't get in. Now, it's really infuriating. I mean, in one day, would you believe this one year this happened, and it's a fact. What happens is you all put your money in. You've got to put your money in by a certain date, which will be coming up any time now. March, April, you will be end of March. You'll be applying for the FA Cup. This is what normally happens. You apply for the FA Cup. They take your money, and then you have to wait till probably late June, July, when they get back to you and say like your acceptance in the cup. On the day that this was happening, one year, on the day that this was happening, I hadn't heard anything. No emails had come, and on the actual day, so I'm thinking, oh wow, we must be in it. So I'm listening to the draw. The draw's being announced. No bit. When I go back to look at my computer, email comes. Sorry, on this occasion, you've not. On the day of the draw, this is how bad it is. On the day of the draw, I am sorry, you've not been unfortunately not been successful in gaining an entry of the FA Cup, and I were absolutely fuming. So I sent a letter in at the time, which then got passed to the chairman of the FA Cup committee. The letter got sent to and the chairman, and I later found out was the chairman. I'm not going to mention no names because it won't be right, but the chairman was the chairman of the Football League Club. He responded back stating, in his opinion, his committee, which is the FA Cup committee, had acted in accordance with the laws that would have been passed or at the meeting for club entry. But that were my argument. The rules and what's been passed are dated. They've got to move with the times. Yeah. Now, like I said before, I've been in this competition at Bacup Borough every season we've been in the FA Cup. Last 5 years we've not, so 17 years out of 22 I have managed Bacup Borough in the FA Cup. My supporters look forward to going into the FA Cup. Yeah. My players look forward to going into the FA Cup. And as the managers and coaches and all my staff look forward to going in the FA Cup. So the simple fact is, for the last 5 years, we've not gone in the FA Cup. You look at this here, the FA Cup. Celebrating 125 years
you can see that
of participation in the FA Cup. Greatest cup competition in the 125th cup, FA Cup, the world's greatest cup competition, right? We commemorated that we, Bacup Borough, took part, right? Proud of it. It's there, it's on the wall.
Takes pride of place.
Takes a pride of place. Like any other club. And I'm speaking here today
on behalf
of all Step 6 clubs. This isn't about Bacup Borough.
Yeah.
All Step 6 clubs. So we are proud, and I'm sure they will be proud of taking part in the FA Cup. Everybody wants to take part. It's the world's greatest prestige. Now then, this is my point, and this is where it breaks down. So, and I've had meetings since. I even only had a meeting back in October with somebody from the FA.
Yeah.
Right. Now this is my point. The reason why it's oversubscribed, this competition, it's an FA competition. The reason why it's oversubscribed is because all of a sudden, and the reason why Bacup Borough has won other clubs that's been in for the last 17 years out of 22 that I've been here, is because all of a sudden, and I won't know the facts on this unless I looked it up, and we haven't time to look it up now. Since when was the introduction of clubs, what I call, I won't use the word because some people do, plastic clubs, but clubs that have been formed that haven't got facilities.
Yeah, it was sharing facilities.
Sharing them. I don't know when they brought that in, but immediately they brought that in, created a problem in terms of numbers
and fixtures.
Because straight away, if you're operating on say, 300 teams, hypothetically, a statement, 300 teams, if you're operating on 300 teams, in theory, you could be then operating on 360 teams or 400 teams, because straight away across the country there are new teams that haven't even got their own facilities, right? That are sharing with existing historic clubs, and it's made the numbers up on entry to the FA Cup.
But it creates a problem if both them clubs are also drawn at home.
Well, I'm not really bothered about whether they're drawn at home or not. This isn't about that. This is about what should be happening about the FA Cup. Everybody, you can't make it elitist, right? It looks to me they're trying to make it elitist, or they've got too many numbers. Yeah. So the bottom end of the scale, they're chopping it off. Yeah. Now, the problem is with that, in my opinion, they shouldn't be doing that, because us clubs at the bottom end of the scale have got to do everything very much the same as everybody just above us at step 5.
Yeah.
We've got to do exactly the same as people at step 4, and on it goes. We've got to do exactly the same. We've still got ground grades. We've still got to make sure our grounds are suitable for the level that we're playing in. Yeah. We've still got to, this minimum criteria, all that comes at a cost of running football clubs. You follow where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I'm with you.
All comes at a cost. Now, it's a business, is football, like I keep going on about, because it's a cost, and there's people pay to come in, and you've got to be transparent to the authorities, whether the authorities is FA, whether the authorities are the North West Counties League in our case, or whether they're transparent to the Inland Revenue and VAT. Everything, you've got to be transparent. You've got to have accountants, everything. It's not playtime stuff.
It's just on a smaller scale.
It's on a small scale. It's real time. It's real. The only limited ways that you can keep generating money into your club to be able to keep the club going. In a competition, in our league competition, there is no prize money.
No.
Right? There might be a little bit if you win it. right, but in reality, there's no prize money. In reality, the only cup competitions that anybody can raise any money and the profile of the club is by being in the FA Cup / FA Vaz.
Yeah.
Or higher clubs up trophy. The FA Cup brings with it a prize pot.
Does.
So what they're doing at Step 6, by cutting all Step 6 off straight away, they're eliminating the prize pot. Yeah. So the Step 6 clubs can't even compete, and they're eliminating it. So
straight away you're cutting the possibilities of a couple of £1,000 coming into a football club like Bacup Borough, which at this level of the game is a lot of money.
Well, exactly. Of course it is. So what they're doing, because, and I know why they're doing it, because the powers that be probably haven't got the manpower, the time, or whatever. Instead, it's all right to bring in new clubs and think we are going to revamp the pyramid, the National League system. Let's talk. We'll not say pyramid. We'll say National League system. So we need to, if we are going to revamp, and we're going to revamp because we want more teams into our National League system to make it equal, so that the pyramid works in promotion, relegation. On another point, I don't think the pyramid will ever work, because there's always teams that struggle in kind of finance and go by the wayside at end of seasons. Yeah. But that's for another day.
Program.
So at the minute, they're inviting all these clubs that are getting sanctioned to come into the National League system. Yeah. They've incorporated a new league last couple of seasons, last couple of years in the Northwest Counties. As we've seen, as we just talked about in the previous show. They've incorporated now this year, it will be, starting next season, there will be a new Midlands League, I think at Step 4 coming in. So
that's another 20 years.
So what they're doing, they're inviting more clubs in to make sure that that everything is playing and equal. Now at this point, I ain't got a problem with all that. Now it's a bit like the Jurgen Klopp thing at Liverpool. If you're going to introduce a winter break, then talk to the Barclays Premier League or the FA Cup or the FA Committee, so that there's no chance of a replay when you're in an FA Cup competition.
Exactly.
But they obviously haven't spoke. Well, equally, what I'm coming to now is exactly the same principle. You've got all these teams, so straight away, so they think, oh, right, so we can have promotion, relegation, it's all equal, he goes there, that club goes there, that club goes there, everything, no problem. Comes to FA Cup, oh, dear me, oh dear, what are we going to do? We can't fit all them in, starting in like August, we can't fit all them games in and be able to get through and finish on time at the final at the Wembley.
So we'll chop them off.
So what we'll do, chop them off.
Cast them aside.
So really, you're penalising, like we get penalised all the time at Step 6 and Step 7. Right? You penalise Step 5. You penalise down here, like we said about the young referees. We don't get the experienced referees. No. We get the young referees
who were just
starting off. So you get penalised there, because obviously your discipline record, because they are going by the book. They're
Same
not
with the
managing
sin bins and things that were all brought in at this level.
So, but the FA Cup is massive for us clubs. Yeah. Everybody across Step 6.
Big. Well, it's becoming very apparent due to what happened with Liverpool that it's a lot bigger. It means a lot more to the smaller clubs than it does the bigger clubs.
Correct. 100% correct. So, my point is the rules or how you get entry into the FA Cup needs completely revamping, looking at and rejigging. Now, I come out with a point in when I had the meeting in October, right? I turned round and said, rather than dismiss teams out of the FA Cup and chop them off at Step 6 where you're chopping them, right? And you think it's going to be an oversubscribing situation, why do you not introduce, like they do in the Champions League, where there's qualifying rounds to qualify for the FA Cup, down below, down at our level? I'm not talking higher, where they make qualifying rounds, so there's qualifying. Because let's be honest, I know some people won't agree with this, because they'll say, oh, we haven't got time to get all our ground sorted out, our pitch sorted out by the start of August. Right, and things like that. It's always difficult because you've only got a 12-week kind of window to do all your work. But just like Manchester United a few seasons back had to not go on their on the jaunt commercially on the tour because they had to qualify for the
in order to get through
to
like, the back door
into the Champions League.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same principle. So why did they not make it? So then there's a bit of a competition pre-season.
Yeah.
Pre-season.
But you're still in the FA Cup.
But you're still in the FA Cup and you've got a chance to be in the... But just to chop, or just to say to clubs, oh, I'm sorry, you won't be applying this time because we're cutting it off at step 6. Yeah. Listen, how can you cut it off at step 6 when we are in the same... We're in bed with the same... In all the pyramid, National League system, we're in bed, right?
Whether you're North West Counties or the Premier League,
we're in bed with them. We're in bed. There's a pathway up. There's a pathway down, and it's all right. Them clubs at the minute.
You can
it's
come
all
in,
right,
but you can't come in.
Yeah, it's all right. Them clubs at the minute turning round who's in step 3 and step 4. Oh, that doesn't bother us. We're in it. We're in it. But one day, lads, you might be a step 6 club because your club might fall.
You might fall on bad times.
So at the end of the day, it's important that this competition that's supposed to be the people's competition, world's greatest cup competition, that gives, and one of the things that makes it the world's greatest cup competition
is grassroots
football. Is grassroots football. When you've got a team that's progressed several rounds and then they're hitting a Shrewsbury or they're hitting a blinking, even a club, higher than that. We've seen
it in the past. You can go back to the Hereford days. You can go back to the Sutton United versus Coventry days. It's what makes the FA Cup special. And it's important. And the thing is, it's just penalising smaller clubs down the. If we're all in it together in the system, they've got to treat us all alike. I have we're the foundation of what goes on.
I have a bone of contention sometimes where, like, and I get why they do this, but again, I think this could be revamped. If you go the teams that play higher, so like say your Evo Stick Prem teams, they tend to come in at a later round than like clubs down at step 6.
The Vanarama National League, they
come in later, and what happens is they don't have as many games to play before they can hit the big boys, and they're on television and getting some television money.
Two games and
they're in, which again is a bit unfair because clubs down at step 6, right, to get anywhere near a football league
it's 5
club,
games.
And that
we saw it with. I know we've mentioned it, and we will mention it because they're over the way. But if you look at Cone, 4th round qualifying, up against Gateshead, only 1 game away from the big boys, and I believe in the region of £40,000 in their coffers. That's a season's money for a lot of clubs at our level.
Well, it is. It's important.
It's important,
but
not just financially.
But not just people want to play in because the FA Cup, and in my time, the FA Cup has been so great competition. And the first season we weren't in, there was people. The amount of calls I were getting. Have you not entered in FA Cup this year? Of course I have.
Been turned down.
And I'm not being funny. Since them email, these come out on the minutes of the North West Counties meeting. I have noticed, because obviously I'm copying in on them, people are pressing that, reply to all. So it really should only go to John Deal, but reply to all. I'm telling you, he was flooded yesterday. We emails concerned and saying this is not right. Yeah. And in the end, I intervened in a way and put an email out there and said, listen, the North West Counties can only do so much as a voice. Yeah. They can only do so much.
They relay the message.
They relay the message, and then they go to meetings, and then they have a step 5, 6 little group. There's all these little committee things around, and then they'll say to them, they'll go to like the step 5 and step 6 group from all over the country who'll make noises to them, who then make noises to the FA. Listen, you clubs out there. Forget these little 5, 6 clubs that are supposed to be representing us. Forget the North West Counties League or your league that's representing us. Bang your emails in.
You need to go to the board.
Bang your emails in to them people at the FA competitions department that have and will forward them on, and they'll be sick of the inundatedness, right? At the end of the day, they cannot, and I'm really passionate about this, and I'm here, and I'll tell you now, on behalf of Bacup Borough Football Club and all them Step 6 clubs, I'm going to source a legal team, on a no-win, no-fee, to represent us all to fight this, because I don't think they can do it.
No.
I think somewhere along the line, when you look into it, somebody sent me an email yesterday.
But they would expect you just to roll over, though, wouldn't they?
Probably.
And go away.
But somebody sent me an email yesterday and they said what the word they used, I think I copied you in on it. The EU, something about EU, something or other act.
You was using words as in to the lines of discriminations act.
Yeah, discrimination. It's discrimination, and I don't think they can. I don't care because I might be wrong. The format that they'll use, right? They'll have an FA cup committee. I guarantee the blinking chief exec that sat in at the top
might not even know.
He won't even know what decisions they're making. He'll just he'll write it off. It doesn't matter. It's not his department. The only time that this is going to it needs national recognition. It needs all the media guys to get involved in this, because why are Step 6 clubs across the country being penalised to play in the world's greatest competition, the FA, that we're members of or part of the FA, and we've always played in the FA Cup, and we're eligible to play in the FA Cup. The fact that they've introduced a national league system, right, or allowed a national league system that's introduced more teams in it, that means that there's more demand on the FA Cup as a competition, then it's up to them to revamp it, to make it more fairer, and to allow clubs to come in and compete in it, rather than just turn around and say, cut them off there at Step 6. We're not having Step 6 clubs in. That is wrong. That's why I think the qualification, because at least if you get beat in a game of football,
you're still in the FA Cup.
No, if you get beaten in a game of football, you're not in the FA Cup because you haven't qualified.
No, but I mean, if you bring in what you were saying before, bringing it maybe a little bit earlier, because there is more clubs wanting to.
Yeah, well, they said they've looked at that, and it's very difficult to do this and do that and do the other. Well, everything in life difficult.
Logistically, though, there must
be a
way
difficult.
Of
it's difficult, but you've got to make. Listen, if you're going to reinvent the wheel on one area, then you've got. I mean, it comes back to this: the bigger clubs are abusing the competition, not on purpose, but they look at priority. So they've got their priority. Take Liverpool. There's another priority. Yeah, of course they want to play in the FA Cup. But the rules state, although I play on words and I've just read the rules.
Yeah, I read the words yesterday. 15A.
15A. To be fair, I can't be double standards here, because the other day I was going on about words and I play on words.
But the words, from the wording, there seems to be a way around it.
There's a way around it, because the wording it doesn't actually say that a club must be play the strongest side.
Availability.
It says availability, which is a bit of a
but if
area.
someone's on a sun lounger in Dubai, then
they're not available, are they? So Jurgen Klopp could argue that if they got brought to task about the Shrewsbury game, Jurgen Klopp could turn around and argue and say, I've looked at that rule at 15A or whatever it is, and my players weren't available. And the reason why they weren't available...
He made them unavailable.
No, he only made them unavailable because the Barclays League or whoever, or the FA, not the Barclays League, the FA brought in, or the Barclays League, I don't know who's brought it in, a winter break. So this is what I'm saying, they're not speaking to each other. No. If your computer, if you do something like there on your hurdy-gurdy there, right, and it's supposed to link up to these microphones and then send it out.
But there's a breakdown in communication.
There's a breakdown. If it doesn't go out, it doesn't go out. So obviously there's a breakdown. So they never looked at the fact that there were a possibility that two Premier League teams in the winter break could be on an FA Cup replay, because it weren't thought about. Now it's thought about after the horses bolted.
Yeah. But there's a lot of clubs. There's a lot of clubs out there which are putting the FA Cup on the back burner. It's not a priority anymore for a lot of clubs.
Exactly.
Yet for teams
for us,
at our level, it's
we
want
to be in
the season.
Of course it is. Massively. And obviously, the big thing is there's prize money at stake as well, but irrespective if there were no prize money, if you want to be in the world's greatest competition, which allows us to be in...
The fans love it, and the players love to get out on that pitch and be a part of the FA Cup.
Exactly right, exactly. And I'll tell you what, all they're doing, they've probably thought all ways of how can we do this, how logistically we can't really do it. I'll tell you the easiest way, shop them, cut the head off. All the Step 6 across the country. Massively disappointing. And the trouble is, look, you send an email, I send an email, and I've met the people who it goes through. They're just employed by the Football Association. They can only advise administrators. So what happens is I'll pass your email to the committee. Well, who are we? Who's Brent Peters? Who is Steve Brown? Who are we? Yeah. You know, we're nobodies.
But collectively, in numbers you are.
Correct.
And if
we're
this
making
gets
a
out
point,
into media
and I'm
channels-
speaking for all the Step 6 clubs, they can't do it. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely, you know, we're fighting. All Step 6 clubs at the end of this season, like everybody else, will be working out to make sure the grounds are up to the right standard, to make sure everything's perfect, as per the regulations of the FA. And we have to do everything the same as what everybody other club has, but on a smaller scale. Okay, we don't have to we might not have to put as many seats in the arena as an Evo stick side has.
Yeah, the different criteria.
Different criterias, but it's still the same, and we're all in the same. And there's ups and there's downs. So while there's ups and there's downs, just like there's an up from the Division 2 to Division 1, Division 1 to the Championship to the Premiership, we're the same. Yeah. So we should all be still in. You know, everybody should be treated the same. If they want to be in the FA Cup, then there should be situations they know by percentage of teams that are eligible to be in the competition. So it's up to them to revamp the rules of it and how you can get in it to make the competition so that everybody has a chance, not just chop people off, not just all of a sudden come, like I said, 22 years I've been at this club, 17 years I've been in the FA Cup with Bacup Borough, proud of that, proud of it, and all of a sudden they chop our blinking head off.
Excellent, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Interesting comments from the manager here at Bacup, that is Brent Peters. If you're watching this, maybe watching it live or watching it later on, please share it. Please get it shared on all social media platforms. This needs to get out there, and hopefully somebody somewhere in an high place, in an ivory tower maybe, might be listening. But it's been an absolute pleasure. We will be back on Monday with some more from the Sports Bar Show, Bacup Borough FC Media, and have a good weekend, and all the best tomorrow.
Cheers.